What's going on, everybody? It is I, Jacob Orr, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, back with another episode of the Streakers Island Podcast. We put the cast in the pod, and the pod in the cast. I'm joined with the usual suspects, Mr. Lane Dashing Dashco.
That's me.
And Mr. No Feet Picks More for Your Money.
Woo!
All right, boys, we have a full show, right? We're going to go over the Labor Day weekend, which saw 2 classics and 1 poop. We're going to jump back into the power rankings. We're going to talk about the Jay struggles, and Dan's going to give them something to write about how they're going to win 1,000 games. And we're going to break down the NFL division by division on which teams are hot and which teams are not. But first, let's jump right into the Labor Day games. And I think 2 out of 3 games will go down as classics.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Saskatchewan-Winnipeg was phenomenal. Toronto-Hamilton was phenomenal. Whether you like the results, depending on who you cheered for. And they were good football games, and they were good exposure for the Canadian Football League.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Edmonton-Calgary, I thought the game was a bit of a snore fest.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Basically, once Calgary took a lead, they just shut it down, and Edmonton couldn't respond because the O-line couldn't do anything. But, I mean, let's kind of talk a little bit about the main storylines from these games. And I'm going to say this a bit about Saskatchewan versus Winnipeg. Saskatchewan won, but Winnipeg will use this as a momentum builder because that's their best game they've played all year.
Yeah,
you guys agree?
100%, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think Winnipeg showed that, look, they are not the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the years before, but they can certainly compete with any team on any given Sunday.
100%, we just
100%
did.
again.
Because they took the Rough Riders literally to the final play of the game. And even the onside kick, Winnipeg almost got. So, it literally came down to the final seconds. With Caleros just leaving that ball a little too long in the air for the pick 2. I've seen a lot of people question why wasn't it a pick 6? Because it was only a 2-point conversion. Therefore, it was only worth 2 points. You could not have a play offensively worth 2 points and defensively worth 6. The math would not match.
That'll be some game.
Then again, in the NHL, some games are worth 2 points and some games are worth 3. So, I mean, who knows?
But it's the same for defensive offense.
Yes, but Winnipeg is also getting some reinforcements with Pokey Wilson. We broke that on the pregame show on Monday afternoon, that Pokey Wilson is returning to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And I don't know what you guys feel, but I feel that's a big offensive threat for Winnipeg moving forward. It gives Claros just another deep ball threat.
It does, huge, yeah.
And I feel maybe he can replace. I'm going to call this out. Maybe he's finally the Kenny Lawler replacement.
Could be.
He did put up 1,000 yards last year in Winnipeg. They really need someone to just go out there and with speed, because Caleros has got the arm strength, use the speed to create some offense.
What doesn't? That is a lot of yards.
That is. Now for Saskatchewan, obviously the tail of the tapes from them on this side of the story is even with Trevor Harris not having his best night, not bad, 17 for 27, 219 and a touchdown. They were able to win off, some great plays defensively, and the running game between AJ Ouellette and Mario Anderson really took over this game for Saskatchewan when it needed to.
It did, 100%. Yeah, it was pretty amazing to watch. You saw, why they're the number 1 team in the league. Well, I guess we'll see with your power rankings, but by record, they're the number 1 team in the league, and we saw why. Because Winnipeg put up a very good fight, a championship fight, because they've been dynasty the past 5 years, and Saskatchewan still found a way to win.
But overall, I would say this is a game that when you're going down looking at classics for Labor Day weekend, this will be a game that you look at.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
And we talked about our main player of the games, we talked, when if you're looking for a deeper dive in this, head over to our social medias and you'll find the full post-game show we did on this game. But basically, the story was when Saskatchewan was able to make one more big play, excuse me, and when Winnipeg made mistakes, Saskatchewan capitalized. When Saskatchewan made mistakes, Winnipeg did not.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the fumble from Trevor Harris in their own 10, they only get a field goal. Yeah. When Brady Oliveira fumbles it at his own 30, Saskatchewan gets a touchdown. It was literally, that was the difference. That was the difference in this game. It's a 4-point spread, That's a 4-point difference right there. That's what lost the game for Winnipeg, was not getting a touchdown in that situation when they got the ball at like their own at like the Rough Riders 5.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. It was a one major play.
But I will say I'm very excited for the Banjo Bowl rematch next week in Week 14, which is on Saturday at 4 p.m.
It's crazy to go right back to it, eh?
Back to the Banjo Bowl. If anyone can't see, I'm being crazy. But I want to move on now to the Toronto Argonauts versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And if you want to see a rant, I highly recommend you watch the post-game show from Monday night, because Lane goes off. My mom wanted to send him milk and cookies to make sure he was all right.
I could use them.
It was a good rant for sure.
Because you're looking at Hamilton now, and does anyone know the "you blew it" gif? Which I you blew it. And that's what I felt it was for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in this situation. They should have won this game.
Oh,
And they
and
found a way to lose.
I've had a few. I'd say we recorded our show a little early. Oh, my camera's having a rant now. I've had a few hours to sort of think about it. Am I calmer? Little bit. But am I just as mad? Absolutely. Because I can't believe you cannot finish a game and you got Bo Eli Mitchell sitting there going, ice in my veins. I got ice. When you have ice in your veins, you probably should go to a doctor, because you're probably going to get your arm cut off.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was going, I got ice in my veins.
Oh, I didn't know what he was doing.
I'm a winner.
I'm like, I'm following his playbook. I'm like, okay, that's nice. You got a playbook.
That means like ice in the veins is what that means when you smack the veins on your arm like that.
And I just want to also speak to the whoever the teen dietitian is for the Ticats. Maybe you should start cooking their food, because if they're eating it raw, something is clearly going to their heads, because I don't know what's going on with this team. So they started out 0-2, if I'm incorrect.
Yeah.
They started out 0-2, and it looked like it was going to be a bad season. It looked like it was going to be a repeat of last year and the years before, where we were like, oh boy, this is going to be a rough year for the Ticats. And then they won 6 in a row. But I kept saying every week, I'm like, I don't know. Shouldn't probably we win it? There was a few games in there where they definitely did deserve, but a lot of them I'm like, I don't know. You're winning on the last minute, last play of the game. You're not like Saskatchewan. You're not like Calgary. You're not going up there and dominating. You were getting wins, but they were kind of like, last 30-second wins. And I'm like, and I said all along on this podcast, and I got told I was crazy. I got told I'm over dramatic. That people said, you're being mean. This is a good team. I said, I don't think they are a good team. I think they're an average team that puts up that's able to stick around in games and make one last play, but it's not going to last forever. Well, the timer has expired on this team being able to go out there and put up a win in the last 30 seconds. And I'm going to tag team something Jacob has said on this podcast and on these pre-records 100 times over when we talk about the Blue Jays. And he's absolutely right about one thing. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for this team anymore. I'm not going to sit here and accept mediocrity from a team that hasn't won since, what year, Dan, was it?
1999.
No, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. Jacob's 100% right. You can't just keep saying, well, they did this, and well, Bo Levi Mitchell put up 500 passing yards. Well, this, and well, that. I don't care anymore. This is inexcusable. The fact that this franchise goes up there every week and decides, you know what, they're going to get cocky and they're going to get up in a game and start dancing around and drinking the Kool-Aid before the game's even over, that has got to stop. Whatever the confidence they think they have, they need to check themselves and wreck themselves. This team should have no confidence with the way they've played the last 3 weeks.
Now, Lane, I do agree with you, actually, because I didn't like the cockiness, not just from the offense. I mean, the offense, fine. You went out, you put together a drive. But the entire team of acting like the game was over when there was still 18 seconds left. And let's be honest, the Toronto Argonauts offense the last 2 weeks has arguably been the deadliest offense, in the entire league. Nick Arbuckle over 750 yards and 7 combined touchdowns over his last 2 games. You have Spencer Brown, and Toronto's finally found a running back. And the running game today, it only was 9 carries for 90 yards. But the difference is when you have, a running back that can make plays, the play action's actually effective. This is the
100%.
first time the last couple of games where Toronto runs play actions and teams aren't actually sure if they're going to pull it or not.
Right.
So you're looking at that for Toronto, and the defense, I'm seeing people criticize the defense. Well, the defense did enough to hold on to this one. And Dejan Brissett with the big reception, he did say it in the post-game interview with Matthew Schnetti that he wished he got out of bounds a little sooner. I do agree with him there. That's a play where the adrenaline's running high, and I think he just made a mental error. But luckily, the Argos did find a way to have 1 second on the clock. Laram hits the 11-yard field goal, and they're walking off with a big victory. And this brings us into the first gas or ass of this morning. The morning, this morning, whatever. Something to do with morning. Gas or ass, the Toronto Argonauts are back in the playoff race. Lane, you're muted.
I say gas.
I'm saying gas. You're saying ass or gas?
Gas. I think, like I said it. You guys call me crazy. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Argos passed the Ticats.
Whoa.
Look, it's possible if Hamilton loses to Montreal next week, Montreal would actually be tied with them, and then Toronto does play Hamilton one more time this year. Winner of that game wins the season series October 4th, I believe. So mark that one on your calendars, ladies and gentlemen.
See, the thing is, it's frustrating about it. It's like, at least from a Ticats perspective, it's just like, yeah, like I said, I called this in the pregame when we chatted earlier today. There's no way you're going to beat the Argos 9 times in a row. I kind of figured that's not going to keep happening. And I did say the Argos were winning. It's not, everyone thinks that I'm mad because we lost to the Argos. Yeah, it hurts. Of course it hurts.
I think you're mad because of the lack of discipline from the team in that final 20 seconds.
It hurts because I got two guys here on this podcast that are never going to let me hear the end of it to the end of time. That's going to hurt me. But what hurts me more is just that, every week I'm watching this team and they're so confident, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know if it's Scott Milanovich doesn't have a good ear in that room. But you brought this up to me even before this season, Jacob. You said this team has confidence issues. They get cocky and they kind of don't really play it out, and are still here.
They acted like they won the game when there was still time on the clock. And I am telling you, in the Canadian Football League,
15 seconds is a lot.
18 seconds. Even after the kickoff, I think Arbuckle had 12 or 13 seconds to work with. That's 2, if not 3 plays, if it's managed properly.
And even if you go, okay, what if he didn't make that pass? Okay, he could have made a 15-yard pass, got down, and then made another 15-yard pass. Guy could have got down and with 1 second still kicked it.
Has only missed 2 field goals. No, sorry, I think 4 or 5 field goals all year, and he's been money anything over 50.
But we do have to. Phenomenal. But there is one gas rest I think we do have to address, even though I think it's ass, but we got to address it. I'm not going to lie. I think this is ass, but I wanted to ask some more, brother, because I think it's an ass take, but I'm seeing it everywhere on social media. The CFL added time or has a time issue when the game's close, but when the game's not far apart, they don't care about that 1 second. People do make that argument.
Okay, but I'm going to comment on this. If it's 20 points apart with 1 second left and it should have been a second and you called it the game, who cares?
Well, I was going to say.
You need to make sure the time is on the money in that situation. Because if you went and said the clock was over when there was video evidence there was 1 second left, and I'm not trying to be mean, I think this is just people just frustrated with the outcome. If there's still a chance within, Dan and I were at a game, I think it was 3. Yeah, it was the year the Argos won 16 out of 18. And I remember the Argos were up 30 points over BC with a minute left. And the referee's timer, please add 1 second to the game clock, over and over and over. Yeah, and everyone in the building, you could tell even the Lions were come on, we just want to go home. And they had the ball.
Yeah.
So I think
I don't know,
when it matters, you need to make sure the clock is right.
100%.
But you see it in all sports. When the game's over, look, the NFL, there'll be 35 seconds left and every single player's on the field because the game's done. The ref doesn't throw the flag. Oh, too many players on the field. Both teams.
Never mind the players, the cameras start going on the field.
Cameras, the coaches, and
Reporters.
they're not
I'm
throwing
just saying.
flags.
My point is, if you want to be consistent, I'm just putting it up there.
Yeah,
Technically, you should run the play. If you're gonna say that this is the rule that the game cannot end until we have the last snap, then it shouldn't matter what the score is. You can even if the guy just sits there and goes, "Okay, hot, okay, let's go." Doesn't matter. You can't just say it doesn't work. Because what if it's an 8-point game? Like then we get into all these variables. What if it's an 8-point game, but they're on their own 5-yard line and they can't get down the field in 1 second? Then what do you do in that? You say, well, it's over. But what if they got a 95-yard pass?
Well, no, at that point, what I mean is more, I think
you know what I mean, though? I'm just saying.
No, I get what you're saying, but any one score game, you have to be careful. You have to make sure 1,000% that the clock is perfect.
Yeah,
but let's say this game, the Argos were down 10 points and there's 1 second left. And maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Well, it's physically impossible for them to come back. So who cares? What? I agree with what you're saying, Lane, but I'm just saying from a fan perspective. And I've seen it on social media. I have seen some Cat fans say the clock wasn't accurate. And I'm sorry, the clock was. There was a second on the clock when he stepped out of bounds.
To be honest, if you're going to make this argument, I'm shocked it went the way it did, because historically, the league has always went against Toronto's favor, because the argument is the head office is in Toronto, so the fans accuse them of favoring them. So if they don't accuse of being favor of them, they go on the side of caution and go against Toronto. I think that's a really stupid reason. I mean, I think if you're really that worried about where the head office is located, then located in a neutral site where there's no...
I've argued that so much. Just put the replay center in a city where there's no team. I think that just
I think it's a really stupid argument. I mean, the NHL has what they call a situation room. The situation room's in Toronto. But what, do you think every person in situation room is a Maple Leaf fan? Of course not. I mean, it's a lot of people living in Toronto are not Maple Leaf fans. People working in situation room probably don't even care about hockey. Let's be honest here, right? So it's like, I think it's a really stupid argument, but I have people made that argument. And of course, because of the league in general don't like the Argos, just because people are jealous of the city of Toronto being... A lot of people argue that the Argos should not even be in the CFL, be in Toronto, because people do argue it, because they say Toronto has all the sports teams in the league, so they don't care about the Argos. They say that fans don't show up to the games because they have the Maple Leafs and the Raptors and the Blue Jays and the soccer and all of that, so attendance is low. We say the fan base and all of that. So it's a lot of argument of people saying that the Argos should not even be in the league. And then there's people saying that, that like some decisions that the Argos make with certain players and keeping them, and they said have not kept them. So there's a lot of people really against this team. I think the Argos have the most love-hate relationship in the CFL of the 9 teams. Like, you're either bleed double blue or you hate them. And to put an example, there's a cartoon Jacob and I watched called Forget About It. And the story is based...
Forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's based in Saskatchewan. So, of course, they had the Grey Cup with the Rough Riders versus the Argos. Because, of course, they're American fans. They're not going, any other city in Canada. So they put the Toronto team. And even in the cartoon, the Toronto players went, World-class city, world-class city. I think because of that, players, fans, the league, a lot of people hate Toronto. So if anything, I see a lot of calls. It usually goes against Toronto's favor. So I was absolutely shocked that they called it. I think they made the right call with the 1 second left.
They did.
We actually, on our live show, we had a viewer comment on this situation. And I do think there was controversy with the clock, but not that play. I think the controversy was when it doesn't really matter because it would have helped the situation. But I think Lawler, when he catched the ball and he was down in the end zone, there was 20 seconds left in the clock, and magically went to 18 seconds.
Which was a great comment by Chris in our live show, a new viewer to the island. So
Yes.
thank you for that comment. But it's interesting here. I was just kind of going through the social media on Hamilton Tiger Cats Facebook page, and I was reading the thread of the final breakdown. And funny enough, they're not talking about the clock, at least on Facebook. Layden, you've said you've seen it on Twitter, but I'm seeing on Facebook here, they're more just saying you can't win with 25 yards rushing.
Why?
And at the end of the
They're
day,
not
the
wrong.
defense needs to play better. And they were frustrated with Mitchell acting like he won the
Oh, I see
game
what
when
you're
the
saying.
game wasn't over.
Yeah.
Because Toronto, funny enough, all of a sudden they found a running back. And now look, with 2 good running games, they've won 2 straight. 2 games where you've been able to run the ball, you won them both.
Well, here's what I'm just confused about. Why did, and you guys know better than me. And again, I've always, like I said, I told these guys, I'm like, I'm a CFL fan, but I don't know the players as well. Like I know the team, but I didn't know the players well until this year. I'm really starting to get to know the players a little bit more. So these guys will know a little bit more than me. But why did they get rid of Butler? Like you guys told me how good Butler is.
I
I'm
have
watching him this year. He looks
absolutely
fantastic.
no idea why
Salary cap, I
Hamilton
guess.
kept Greg Bell and moved on from James Butler. So James Butler, I believe, right now is leading the CFL in rushing yards.
Every
Let me
time I
just
watch,
double-check and confirm that. But he is dominating in BC.
why don't you
I
just keep
think
him?
he is the main factor why BC, it's not just Nathan Rourke. James Butler, oh yes, is leading the CFL with 868 rushing yards, a long of 38, 8 rushing touchdowns, 20 over 10-yard rushes, and 5 over 20.
I
Sorry,
don't
10 over
understand it.
20 over 10 yards, 20 over 5 over 20. Those are tongue
I have
twisters.
a gas so ass.
Oh my gosh. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What did it do,
Now,
Melso?
I think I might have asked this last week, but even if I did, I think the answers might change. So I'm going to ask it a second time, and if not, I've asked it first time. That's fantastic. With Brown winning 90 yards today and big difference maker for the Argos winning, and Macahan being only in 1 play, will Macahan be an Argo next season? I'm going to say ass. He will not be Argo next season.
Ass.
I'm saying gas because I think they're going to find a way to utilize him in more of the screen passes.
Oh, good
Spencer
answer.
Brown,
Okay.
once McMahon is healthy again, Spencer Brown will be your running back. McMahon will be your when you're a second and long and you want to have a check down that can make a few people miss an open field.
Because I do like him in that situation. That's
The
where we
only
used him
way
last
I
year.
think, Dan, you're right, is if McMahon isn't happy with not being the featured running back. Because Spencer Brown, I think now, until he loses it, has earned it. The last 2 games, he has been very, very effective. And just to put into perspective on why I'm so, and you might say Spencer Brown's only played 3 games, but he is now the leading rusher for the Toronto Argonauts after 3 games played.
Yeah,
30
he's
carries,
incredible.
179 yards, averaging 6 yards per carry. He already has a touchdown and 4 runs over 10 yards, 1 over 20. Your second leading rusher, Nick Arbuckle, the quarterback, has 150 yards, averaging 3.9 yards per carry, along of 14 and 5 over 10 yards. McMahon is third with only 136 yards. Only averaging 3.7 yards per carry. I like McMahon. I think he's a talented young man, but he has not worked in this system this year. And Spencer Brown, look, it's made a huge difference in this Argonaut team on the offensive side as well. I mean, with having a running game, it is taking a little pressure off Nick Arbuckle, who basically has to be perfect for the Argonauts to have a chance to win any games.
I hate to say this because I'm a huge fan of his, but I think it's the same situation for Chad Kelly. I think Nick Arbuckle has his job as a starting quarterback until he loses it, even when Chad Kelly's healthy.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you that I think that. But now let's move on to the third game of Labor Day, and I think this is the one we'll probably have I'll probably have more to say on. Sorry, I just got a message from a viewer saying how much he enjoyed the live show. So I was reading that quickly. But
I think I'm crazy.
we won't have as much to talk about for this third and final game of the week, which is Calgary versus Edmonton, which is just Calgary dominated. Edmonton really needs to wake up and smell the coffee for next week, or else their playoff hopes could be out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's basically all that needs to be said for that game. I mean, Dedrick Mills and the defensive line and the offensive line for Calgary basically won this game.
They did, yep.
VA didn't even throw 200 yards. He didn't have to. Cody Fajardo did throw for 255, but was running around like a chicken with his head cut off all game, just trying to like not die. And to me, that was kind of the game.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
Is there really any more we really need to get into that one? That's basically
it was pretty brutal.
So I think it's time now that we've recapped the games. God bless you and everyone. But now that we've recapped the games, let's get into the CFL Power Rankings. And when we take a look, there has been some monster moves on my end, and some people may not agree, some people may agree. Calgary Stampeders, I have at 1, which I had going into this week. Saskatchewan Roughriders hold at 2. Here's where I think I start the controversy, because I put a losing team at 3.
I actually don't agree with 1 and 2.
I actually think Winnipeg played phenomenal. So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers move up to 3. Toronto Argonauts move up to 4.
Wow.
BC Lions hold 5. Hamilton Tiger Cats slide down to 6. Edmonton Elks 7. Ottawa Red Blacks 8. Montreal Alouettes 9th. Dan, why don't you agree with 1 and 2?
Because I think the Saskatchewan win was a much more impressive win than the Calgary.
I don't care. A week ago, you got slaughtered by Calgary again.
They didn't get like Saskatchewan and Winnipeg came right down to their last play. I could have been.
You're not understanding me. The last time, a week ago, when Calgary played Saskatchewan in Week 12, which was only 2 weeks ago now, Calgary slaughtered them 32-15.
I get that, but then
so I can't say Saskatchewan is better than Calgary when their only 2 losses are to Calgary. And Calgary made Edmonton look like a high school team.
The rest of it I agree with, but the 1 and 2 I totally don't.
I don't see how you can say Saskatchewan is better than Calgary when in both games between Calgary and Saskatchewan, Calgary blew the doors off them.
Because that game against Winnipeg came down to the last play. It came down to Campbell stealing for 2 points with the extra conversion. That literally could have been.
I understand that, but then when Calgary plays Winnipeg, they blow the doors off them.
Yeah,
Calgary's the best team in the CFL. It's not even a question. Their only losses are Vernon Adams is injured, pouring rain. Vernon Adams gets a concussion in the 4th quarter. That's their only blemishes.
Yeah, but you also say your power ranking has to do with just for the week like after. And
so, but I don't understand how you can say Calgary was down in the power rankings after dominating Edmonton. Because they were first going into this week. How can they go down after dominating Edmonton?
Because it's Edmonton. I can go and dominate Edmonton.
No, you can't. Toronto couldn't, and Toronto beat Hamilton this week. Hamilton barely beat Edmonton a couple weeks ago. Edmonton was riding a 3-game winning streak coming into this game. Edmonton was looking really good. And Edmonton now look like a high school club.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Lane?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I agree with this 100%. Excuse me, but yeah, I think the Argos definitely earned their way into number 4. But I would almost argue Hamilton could be in that 7th tier. I know you wanted them there last time. I argued it, but if Edmonton would have won tonight, I definitely would have put Edmonton ahead of Hamilton. But of course, I think everyone's in the right spot. I can't argue with any of these, to be honest.
Well, the reason why Hamilton's where they are is I don't feel I can put them ahead of Edmonton when Edmonton played so poorly this week. Truthfully, Edmonton could be last if Ottawa and Montreal had played each other this week, which they didn't. But if they did, hypothetically, and BC, I'm kind of comfortable having them as a mid-ranked team, with Toronto slightly above them. So I look at the last 2 weeks with trying to figure out BC's. And BC lost to Toronto last week. Toronto extended their winning streak to 2 games in a row, so I'm confident enough now to put Toronto ahead of BC.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with everything else.
But Dan, I also do get where you're coming from, because Saskatchewan is the best team in the CFL statistically. So I do
think
get
also
where
the
you're
best team this past week. That was a really tight nail biter game. As Edmonton has been really good for the past 3 weeks, but this week I think any ever eighth team in the CFL could have beat them.
Oh, would you say that? Or
They
I
scored
think,
7 points.
Dan, I'm going to go the other way and say Calgary is so good, they made a good team look bad.
Well, that's a part of it for sure. I'm not disputing
That's how
that.
good Calgary is. Remember, Winnipeg's not even a 500 football club, and they gave Saskatchewan everything they had.
They honestly did. I agree with putting Winnipeg number 3.
But that's why I think Calgary still deserves the number 1 position, because they were the best team in the league this week again.
That's just my gut feeling. I still think.
I mean, if we're going just week to week, this week Toronto was better than Winnipeg. Toronto found a way to make the last second play. Winnipeg didn't.
Yeah, but I understand
But
why.
overall, in the power rankings, I still feel Winnipeg is slightly better than Toronto.
I do too.
I
agree with everything on the list up 1 and 2.
This was actually probably the fastest power rankings I've been able to make in the last few weeks.
I bet.
I'm very confident with where these sit.
Yeah.
I don't really feel there's much else to say about it.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, that was the CFL Power Rankings. Now let's move on to the Toronto Blue Jays and the Blue Jays, the struggle Jays.
Yeah, baseball.
I think the Jays thought they were flying north. And they left.
Yeah.
Especially the bullpen. I'm not sure who put on the script bullpen equals bull poo. That's Lane. I do agree with you, Lane. I think this bullpen is just really struggled. I don't understand going on publicly with Hoffman's your closer and then not putting him in a closing situation.
That made no sense.
If you were going to do that, why not just leave Rodriguez in and see how it goes? Well, instead of putting in Tommy Nance, who has never closed a game in his career.
And he's a good pitcher. He's played really well this year.
I understand that, but it's a different situation.
Oh, 100%.
The Jays are in jeopardy of not winning the division. And I know everyone thought I was over dramatic when they were having some struggles in August. I'm like, hey, you guys told me August is when the baseball matters and they're playing like poop. Mm-hmm. Well, it's September. Green Day says wake me up when September ends. So I guess the Jays bullpen went to bed.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's been really bad baseball. They've only won one of their last 4. Yeah. And I just don't like the way they're playing. I will say I give them credit that I feel they're trying. I don't think it's a lack of effort from this club, but they can't seem to figure out how to close out games. And Lane, again, I know in our Monday night wrap-up show, you were very frustrated with the Jays. Have you calmed down at all, or are you still feeling like, what the bleep?
No, because it's just the same thing I said about the Ticats. Like, you got to finish these games, and it's just like, again, it's like you said earlier, you can't just keep expecting mediocrity. Everyone's still going on. Well, they're 78 and 58. Oh, well, they're 20 games above 500. I don't care if they're 30 games above 500. They are choking this division so fast. Like, they got it, and then they lost. Have you ever seen that it's a Family Guy clip where it's like, and it's gone? It's from South Park when they go open up a bank and they give them $20 and the guy's like, "Hey, got your $20? We put it in, and it's gone." It's just like come on, man. Like, if you just play a little bit sharper, you'd still be like 7-8 games above. Like, but it's just been this last like 1 or 2 weeks. It feels like every time the bullpen goes up, I'm like, oh, here we go.
It's just like Pascal. Here we go.
I just don't understand. Maybe it's because he was tired. I just don't understand why they just didn't leave Yariel Rodriguez, who he gave up 2 hits, I know, but he had like 3 or 4 strikeouts. From what I've seen, he was cruising. The Jays just got back in the game. Give him a chance to go out there, get the win. He kept them in that game. Give him a chance to get the win. Finish the 9th inning. You don't have a good bullpen anyway, so it doesn't really matter who you put out there. Or put out Dominguez. At least put someone out there who's got some credibility. You put out Tommy Nance, who's closed in the minor leagues. And then you put out Brandon Little, who doesn't know what base to throw to. He's like, bases. What are they? 1, there's 2. I think there's 4 of them. Which? Come on, man.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you.
Look like a goalie being a pitcher.
I didn't agree with the decisions on which pitchers came in. And for people watching on YouTube, there is the perfect third rock from the sun gif to go for the way Jays fans are feeling right now.
Yeah.
crying, holding onto their shoes. Why is the shoes in his hand? Nobody knows. But you look at this Blue Jay team right now, and you know what? We talked about it on the live show. I think there's a good chance that if this team doesn't get it done in the playoffs, that we could be seeing a new manager for this club next year.
I think so. Because what else can you do? Right? You gave Vladdy the $500 million contract. Bolsett's playing really well for
He's going to get paid.
contract year. Joel Springer leads the home runs. You got young guys like Kamek, Lucas, Dodger playing a lot better. You got Kirk as arguably the best catcher in the league. You got Joel Springer leading home runs, a great designated hitter.
You can play in the outfield when you need it. You got Dalton Varsho.
You signed Jimenez as a great addition to the defense. You have Varsho as a Gold Glover, as a great defensive player and great hitter. I mean, you got
Miles Straw, who I think when Varsho, does move on, I think Miles Straw is ready to take over. Like this Jays team's got a lot of really good players. So
you got some good pitchers, even though the pitching has been weak as of late. But
I feel the starters have been good overall. I know Scherzer had one bad start recently.
What else is there left to do besides the John Snyder at this point?
Maybe the GM as well for not bringing in a stronger bullpen at the deadline.
But you look at it, even when we're doing bad, for still 20 games over 500. Most baseball clubs, no, I get that. I'm just saying, most baseball clubs would be very happy with over 2,500 record.
They wouldn't be happy when they know they're going to lose the division because they couldn't beat Miami.
It's not guaranteed
and they
yet.
couldn't beat
a possibility.
If they lose against the Red Sox and the Yankees coming up in September, if they lose either one of those series, they will not win the division.
Probably not, but we don't know for sure yet.
At the way they're playing right now, they will lose both of those series.
Until it happens, it's like, whatever.
I'm just not as confident.
I still think they can win both series. I mean,
I'm not saying they can't, but the way they're playing right now, they will not.
Sure, but historically, they played very well against their own division, especially the Yankees. In this year, they swept the Yankees on the Canada series in the 4-game series with a boom. They didn't just win, they swept them. So, yes, the Yankees are playing better, and yes, the Jays are playing worse. However, historically, this season, this group can beat both the Yankees and the Red Sox. And when push comes to shove to get the final job done in the final month of the season, I think we're going to get it done.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just don't feel the way they're playing right now that this team will do it.
I don't think they'll do it.
But I think it is time we grab our cellular devices and we jump right in to the Streakers app. And we have the rest of the Cincinnati Red series versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Who is going to win this next game in this series? Mr. Morfor, going to start with you.
For Jays, I really do. I think today they almost won the game today. I think today was just a lot of drama with Snyder and the pitching, and it sucked, but hopefully tomorrow they get over it.
Lane?
I'm gonna say the Reds. I think this team's in trouble right now. I'm picking the Reds.
I'm also picking the Jays. I'm going with Dan on this one. I think the Jays will tie this series up, and then they'll lose the series in the third game.
So, by your logic, the starting pitcher's going to have to pitch in 9 innings, because if anyone in this bullpen goes in, the game's over.
Who's the starting pitcher for Tuesday night? Do we know?
I will check right now. Give me 2 seconds.
Because if it's like a Kevin Gausman or something, I think that's a possibility. They can go 7. Eric Lawler's been moved to the bullpen. Maybe you would have him pitch, or Lucas, who was a starter for a little bit in the pitching situation.
I liked Lucas when he was started. They called it up recently, did they?
That's what I'm saying. So maybe you bring in either Lucas or Lawler to try to just stretch this out and don't even go to your normal bullpen guys.
But I can see that.
I honestly
think it is Mr. Berrios.
Yeah, Berrios could go 7 innings. If he can go 7.
He's been really struggling lately.
He's been having a hard time.
In general have been good. So I like I said, I'm not confident Jay's going to win the series, but I'm confident they'll give us some hope because that's what Toronto sports franchises like to do. But now let's get into the custom props. And for something new, Mr. Moore, for your money, is making the props for the Blue
Ooh.
Jays instead of me. So if you don't like them, you can go after Dan. I'm just kidding.
I did,
Okay.
yes.
So which prop would you like me to take, Mr. Moore?
I'll take the first one. Will Varsel make an out by the walls? What I mean by that, will he make a cool grab, stealing a home run, or one into the wall, do something crazy?
I'm gonna say yeah. I think Varsho will get a big out like that in this game.
Mr. Dasco, you've been kind of critical of Mr. Hoffman lately. We think Hoffman will close this game.
Well, if they're in the lead 100%, there's no way they're going to go to somebody else. I just don't. Unless, actually, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe they go to their new guy. So I'm going to say no. Maybe they'll go to the guy they
because
just
we all
called
thought
up.
Hoffman was going to close this game too, and he didn't, right? So that's why I put it in there.
I'm going to say no.
Mr. Moore, which prop are you taking for yourself?
I'm saying, will the Reds get 7 strikeouts? I'm going to say no. I really don't think they're going to do that well pitching. The Reds are just a mediocre, hovering around 500 club, and the Jays are leading the league in hitting average, getting on base, right? So I don't see how they're going to get 7 strikeouts.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Lane.
And Nick, let's be honest, I don't think Nick Loloto, I hope I'm not butchering his name, not exactly the highest strikeout pitcher.
That too, right? So, yeah, I know 7 is a quite standard number in a baseball game, but in this game, I don't think we're going to see it.
And I do say, I think for the Jays to win, the bats are going to have to really get going. So there are more props in the sports booths, but we are not. Those are just our main props, but there are some more in there. So make sure you download the Streakers app, jump right into our sports booth, and take a look at our picks and props for this game. But thank you for joining us on the Streakers Gaming app. Now it is time to move on. And Lane, I'm going to say some good news out of a bad situation in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, we've got some update on Psychos too. He has finally been out of the hospital, so that's good news. And if you've been keeping up to date, we've been really keeping an update on him. So he's finally got to go home, and he's still suffering. And his GoFundMe is up to 90% of the 240,000 that he needed, and he's got some big. Mr. Beast just donated $10,000 for him, and everyone's been really helping out. There's been some good wrestlers. Chris Jericho, who some people might know from the 90s, is also helping him out. So a lot of everyone's stepping up here. And again, if you have $1 or maybe an extra 50 cents, anything help for this guy. Again, this guy was brutally attacked in a ring by Raja Jackson. Which has been a crazy story. There's been no update on anything in that sense of what's going on there. I know there's still police investigations heavily, but at least Psycho Stu has finally been able to get home, and he's starting to get back on track, and maybe hopefully can get back in the ring. And also in the WWE, they just wrapped up their France tour. They had the big show there in France with a successful show there with John Cena now. Down to 8 more times we're going to be able to actually see him. If you can actually see him, that has not been shown. We got 8 more days. We're going to see John Cena before his eventual retirement. And they did also announce tonight, because of the pregnancy to Naomi, they did announce today that they will be having their first match for the WrestlePalooza. On that special match will be Io Sky versus Stephanie Becker for the vacated women's championship on Raw. So they did announce that today. So big news in WWE. Of course, they're going to be moving to ESPN next month, WrestlePalooza, September 20th. And of course, Psycho Stu, we hope you keep getting better. We'll keep you updated on everything going there.
Yeah,
it's great to hear that Psycho
Stu is good vibes to him.
And thank you very much, Lane, for the update in the wrestling world. And remember, if you're looking for more wrestling content, Lane will be starting his own show, Sports Talk with Lane, plus his own channel in the Streakers app. So make sure you're staying locked in. Follow Lane on social media. And I believe, Lane, Facebook and YouTube are your 2 main platforms.
Yes.
So make sure you're following there. And, give Lane a follow. Give him a good old Lyco. But I want to move on to the NFL and jump right in to a gas or ass. This is going to be Dan's favorite topic of the night. Gas or ass? After a disappointing few years with the New York Jets, Mike Tomlin will be Mr. Fix-It for Aaron Rodgers.
Mike Tomlin, the coach.
He's the head coach of the Steelers.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna let you go first.
That's a good question. Oh boy.
I figured you'd be saying gas, wouldn't you? You think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback to ever touch a football?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, right? I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, I think it's going.
You've been the defense. Is it gas or ass? Dan, we're all waiting on you because I know what it.
Gas.
Why? Why though?
Why? Because I think Aaron.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a heartache.
Tell me why. Why, Dan? Why will Mike? What is Mike Tomlin going to be able to do to fix Aaron Rodgers? I don't mean fix like spay or neuter your pets, but what do you think?
Bob Locker special.
What are you thinking more for?
We need an answer.
I don't make millions of dollars coaching. Mike Tomlin does. So he's not going to share his secrets. Otherwise, I would be making millions of dollars of coaching, right? But Mike Tomlin is a veteran NFL coach that's been making winning teams out of mediocre quarterbacks for decades now. So now he has a franchise quarterback. I think he's going to do something really special here. I think he's going to get Aaron Rodgers back into his old school form. I think he's going to get something out of him that the other coaches will not be able to. Maybe that's why he's the head franchise coach. You got a franchise coach and a franchise quarterback together. I think it's about as perfect as it's going to get, right?
Look, for me, it's ass because I just don't think Aaron Rodgers has the ability to do what he could do 10 years ago. And even in his prime, it's not like Aaron Rodgers is winning Super Bowls. You guys talk about you and Chazzy, at least, who Chazzy is. He's partying from the Stampeders' big win. But Aaron Rodgers, it's not like he was the Tom Brady of his era where he's winning a bunch of Super Bowls and he had an off year. He was the guy that always fell short. Funny enough, I hate to say it, it's the same comment people make about Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. They're the guys that just fall short and just can't quite get it done. So, yeah, Mike Tomlin's done a very good job at taking mediocre quarterbacks and turning them into playoff teams. But I feel that's more based on his defensive strategies than his offense. But, Lane, you have something you want to share.
Yeah, I just thought, and if you're on Spotify, if you do have a chance to go over to YouTube, we are just taking a quick look. I thought I'd punch it up here. We are taking a look at the depth chart for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, coming into this year. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers will be at the helm of quarterback with Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and the running back position is where I really feel like this team might fall apart, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers is definitely getting up there in age, and, they got Jalen Warren. That name doesn't really ring a bell to me. He might be good, but doesn't really ring a bell as one of the outstanding running backs. You do got DK Metcalf, who you've brought in to play with Aaron Rodgers, so he does have a weapon. But you could argue he had weapons in the New York Jets when they brought in who's the guy from Vegas?
Adams.
Adams, right? You can argue that it's the same thing, right? Now, DK Metcalf is better than Adams, and I'm not trying to say that, but you can at least make the comparison that it's kind of the same thing. And even their backup running back right now, Calvin Austin III, is even questionable. They only have 4 receivers. And Pat Vermouth, he's a decent tight end, but I don't know. I just get scared when I look at these players. Like you only got really one explosive target to throw to, and I'm not
and the
sure
difference is too. The difference is too when you're looking at Justin Fields, for example, last year. Justin Fields is so mobile that he would use his legs to create. Aaron Rodgers is not going to use his legs to create.
By the end of the day, Pittsburgh used Wilson at the end, most of it,
which I actually think. Honestly, I think they should have just stuck with Russell Wilson over Aaron Rodgers because you knew Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, you could win.
What I'm saying is Russell Wilson is an Aaron Rodgers kind of style quarterback, but Aaron Rodgers has the veteran franchise experience that Wilson doesn't.
I'll be honest right now. I think Russell Wilson's a little better than Aaron Rodgers from what I've seen in the last 2 years. Besides at Broncos country. Let's ride.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that was absolutely terrible. But I think overall, I thought Russell Wilson played pretty well last year. Well, I thought Aaron Rodgers played kind of poop. So
it was definitely not a good. It's hard to say because Aaron Rodgers was definitely I'm not saying he was never good. That's crazy to say.
Great years.
He won a Super Bowl. He was an MVP one year.
I just
he
don't
def
see him being like a Trevor Harris in his 40s, still darting up big passes and being super accurate and doing all these things
I
because
think
he
he'll make
hasn't
it.
done it. Trevor Harris, besides of injury problems in the CFL, has been Mr. Consistent. Aaron Rodgers has not been Mr. Consistent. He's been Mr. Darkness Retreat. So I just don't look. It's a high risk, potential high reward. And I will say, I give Pittsburgh credit that they're sick and tired of just going out first round and they're trying to get better. So they made a bold decision. I
Well,
don't think it's
that's
going to
what I
pan
was
out.
going to say too. You look at teams that have done high risks, high rewards. Very teams that end up winning. Everyone thought Tampa Bay was crazy.
No.
Everyone thought that Tampa Bay was crazy signing Tom Brady at 40 whatever. And look at them win. Everyone thought the Raptors were crazy for trading a franchise player for Kawhi Leonard who can't stay healthy with 7 games in a row, and they won a championship.
But my
Okay,
problem-
And
then we have
most
the Toronto
argued if the Maple Leafs did something crazy, they could possibly win a championship.
I was just about to say, no, you have the Toronto Maple Leafs trading first round picks every year and going out first and second round.
Trading a first round pick in hockey is not crazy.
Yes,
I'm
it is.
talking crazy
Yeah, it
like
is.
letting Mitch Marner walk.
Phil Kessel. The Phil
Yeah,
Kessel
it
move
didn't
was
work
huge.
out, but it
The
was
Dion
a crazy
Phaneuf move was huge.
It was.
Toronto makes big signings and big trades every year. They never win. The Dallas Cowboys just traded Micah Parsons for bleep sakes. That's the biggest move that I think the team could possibly do. And I think they're going to be worse. Big moves don't always equal out to success. First game for the Steelers will be against the Seahawks. And against the Jets. And let's see how Aaron
Oh,
Rodgers
against the
does against his
Jets.
former team. Sunday, September 7th at 1 o'clock, baby. Let's see how it goes. And
That's
I will
crazy.
say this, if it doesn't go well, how many games do they give him before Mason Rudolph gets a shot, who had a really good preseason?
That's the thing. Rudolph did have
did.
a really good.
He had a really good
I think it's a
preseason
short
ball.
league.
Preseason ball is very different. I'm giving Aaron Rodgers at least 2 games before you're talking about switching quarterbacks because you gave him the big money. But Pittsburgh, I don't see Mike Tomlin accepting not making the playoffs. And with so many teams in the NFL, it's not like the CFL where you can start 2-8 and then 2 weeks later find yourself back in the playoff race. Like
No.
Toronto.
I'm going to give Rodgers 3 games.
By 3 games, if you go 0-3, your season might be done.
Well, that's
Could
what
be.
Right? And that is a big deal. Mike Tomlin's made the playoffs how many straight years? Like, it's crazy.
Well, I get it's a big deal. I'm just saying that's what I'm taking.
But I am curious what you guys think. I don't know if you're superstitious or not, but do we believe in the Madden Curse?
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard not to believe.
I believe is the cover artist. If
He is, yes.
Correctly. So are you saying you think he's going to have a bad year?
I don't know what it is with this Madden Curse, man. Every time you put Christian McCaffrey, he gets hurt. He gets hurt. The year before, whoever they put on gets hurt. So it always seems to be some crazy. I thought that, I don't know if there's like a meme going around. I should have shared it in the group chat. Where it's like they go to it's like this one guy. He makes great football. I forget the name, but if I'll find it. I'll mention it on the next video. It has great videos. He was like he's like Saquon Barkley. You want to choose between a career-ending ACL injury or an ankle injury? He's like, do I get a choice? No.
I hope the Madden Curse is not a thing this year. But the crazy thing is, it absolutely has been.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
No, I'm hoping for it. I'm just saying I think it could happen.
Now, and I'm curious as well. What are your guys' thoughts on the Chiefs this year? Do you think they're going to be able to go win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years?
I think they can.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say
why?
I think there's too many distractions.
That's what I think too.
Patrick Mahomes. You see them out
really?
there.
I think if anything, I think this team is way better. You got Kelsey who realized. See, here's my theory, right? Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's going to get the calls. We're going to be hearing about how the refs are his best friends at his wedding. And he's going to get those calls. But at the end of the day, you got Travis Kelsey who realized, okay, last year I was distracted. I want to come back. He seemed more focused. He's taken the steps. I know he's got Taylor there, but I think he's more focused because he acknowledged, last year I was kind of off my game. I want to get back into it. So you got that. You got Rice. Yes, he's got a 6-game suspension. But then in 6 games, you got an explosive receiver back who you didn't have at all last year. You got Rashid Rice. And in 6 games, the Chiefs can at least 6 games, at least go probably 4-2. Like they were almost, I think they were undefeated until like week 12. So they're going to be going at least 4-2, 5-1 before they get one of their explosive targets back. You've got Worthy coming back, who's going to be healthy. You're going to have a two dynamic receiving core. You got Juju Schumeister, who's still being pretty good. You got Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in the backfield. You still got a great defense there. I think this team is just as studded. I think what killed them in the Super Bowl is just the injuries and they're just missing some key players, but they're getting so many of their key players back.
The only thing I will say for you, Lane, about that, I will say maybe losing the Super Bowl the way they did knock this team down a peg, which will be good for them. And you look at their starting, they play the Chargers first.
You left. It was only the second game.
You should beat the Chargers. Then you have the Eagles. Okay, maybe a loss there. Then the Giants. You should beat the Giants.
I would hope so.
Ravens. Okay, there's a bit of a tougher one.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, we're halfway through the suspension, and you might be around 500. Then you have the Jags. You should beat the Jags. Then the Lions. That'll be a tough one. Then the Raiders. You should beat the Raiders. Yeah. There's a very good chance by the time Rasheem Rice is back, Lane says, you're sitting around 4-2, maybe 3-3, which still does give you a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. Maybe you're not winning the division because of the Buffalo Bills, because I don't care what people are saying about Buffalo. I've seen some people saying this team's not as good. I disagree. I feel the Bills, the way you talk about Patrick Mahomes is the way I feel about Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is a difference maker. And any year Josh Allen is on your team, you have a chance of winning a Super Bowl.
Well, Patrick Mahomes, I know you don't like him,
but it's the exact same. It's kind of like Tom Brady back in the day, or Peyton Manning. Although Arch Manning did not have a very good week in college ball.
No, he did not.
Seeing him was talking in the media saying that, look, he knows he's just got to be better, and maybe that knocks him down a peg too.
Go
ahead, Dan.
I agree with Lane that I'm not saying that KC is a bad team. I think KC could possibly win the division. I think KC can possibly make the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're a bad team. They got a lot of great pieces, and I think they got even better this offseason. I just think when it comes to any day, even though they got those great pieces, Kelsey has been there a very long time. Kelsey is the leader of this club, in my opinion, even more so than Patrick Mahomes because he's so young. And I think with Kelsey, it depends how much time he has to think if they're going to use blue or yellow serviettes. So if they're going to use chrome or white silverware,
I think they're going to
be so distracted. Let's be honest, this could be the biggest wedding of this year, possibly.
Right, but they're not going to get married
of this decade, right?
But Dan, you're missing the point. We all know they're not getting married. They're not even going to start thinking about the wedding until the season's over. Like everyone thinks
I've already seen pictures online of Travis Kelce being pregnant. I mean, we all know
Travis Kelce being pregnant.
Dan, I think you need to, after we're done the show, go down and talk to our mother and ask her about the birds and the bees.
No, I saw a picture on Facebook about it.
That's how to mean.
It's just a meme going on, right? I don't know. I think. And I think this whole wedding's kind of a stage, to be honest. I think it's just a publicity stunt.
Anyways, I don't want to talk about Taylor Swift ever again on the podcast. Except I don't know why she's in Madden 26.
She is?
She is. Look it up.
That's amazing.
There's been complaints about it already.
I guess so.
That she's in the game when Travis Kelce gets a touchblone.
That's amazing.
There's also rumors that Taylor Swift did not give EA permission because it's her likeness. It's not like it's with Taylor Swift, but it is a blonde woman who looks like Taylor Swift dancing and cheering when Travis Kelce gets a touchdown, hugging someone who looks to be like Kelce's mother. So
I love that.
Could be some interesting marks there. But actually, while we're on the subject of Madden, and this isn't in the script, but I don't care. I'm gonna throw this to you guys anyways. I don't know if you've seen any reviews on the new Madden 26. Mm-hmm. Since we're talking football, we're talking Madden. I have not played it yet, obviously, but I've been very confused where IGN gives it an 8 out of 10. And then I go to Soft Drink TV, phenomenal YouTuber for trying to find out information on upcoming sports games. And he gives it either a 2.5 or a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
So which one is it? A game can't be an 8 out of 10 and a 3 out of 10.
I'll tell you, it's probably zap dab in the middle out of 5. With a game like Madden, it's the most probably one of the most controversial video games that gets released every year. Like ever video games like Grand Theft Auto and Halo, yeah, they're more controversial, but they don't get released every year. Madden is probably one of the most controversial games that gets released every year. So because of that, you're going to have some people that love it just because of the nostalgia of it, because they grew up with it, because John Madden is a legend. And then
I'm going to say this. I don't think John Madden would like the new Madden
because
game.
the actual football play is not very good. So that's why you're going to
terrible.
see the ratings from very high to very low. So if you're seeing an 8 and a 3, I bet it's way in the middle. It's probably a 5 or a 7.
Can I tell you the real reason?
Sir.
A lot of people who are reviewing Madden are too young to remember when Madden was good.
That could be a part of it too.
They weren't alive in the PS2 era, or like they weren't playing video games. The PS2 era of Madden was so much better than the PS3, the PS4, and the PS5 era. The PS2 era of sports video games in general to the PS3 era were the best era of sports gaming. Think of NHL EA 2014. It was incredible. There are still almost 100 features missing from Madden 06 to Madden 26. That is a huge problem. Why do I have more? Why can I build a stadium in Madden 06, but I can't in Madden 26? Why, when I create a team, I can't call them what I want? I have to do presets. Why can't I make the Toronto Argos and build their jerseys and build? I can make their rosters, but I can't make their jerseys. I still need to call them the Toronto Mountaineers, which, by the way, is an absolutely terrible name for a Toronto team. But I see
maybe some people just don't care about that. They just care about playing the game.
But that's because everyone just cares about online, which is just all about microtransactions, which has absolutely ruined sports gaming.
I know for me,
it's all about the park. I got to spend $100 just to be competitive in online play. It's terrible.
When I make a franchise mode in the game, and I have the options to make my arena, make my team name, and make my logos, and make my jerseys. You're a witness to this, Jacob. I skip all of it. I don't care.
But Dan, it should be there for people who want. That is like saying, Dan, GM should never make an all-wheel drive vehicle because I prefer front-wheel drive. Scrap all-wheel. You know what? Lane hates the Toronto Argos, so they should stop making Argo jerseys.
I'm not saying that.
Dan prefers socks with sandals than socks without sandals. So anyone who wears socks without sandals should be shot.
I'm not saying
that is what it is, though. That's what EA is doing because they are taking the online community and not listening to the offline community whatsoever, which is why you're putting out such a poo-poo product.
I guess, too, there's a budget involved, right?
Give me a break. They are literally making record profits every year. I'm going to say this. Madden football would be so much better if it was a new game every 2 years. Just give me a roster update. Look at Gran Turismo. They just update putting in new cars so they can take 5 years to build a game. Could you imagine sports games, we got them every 2 years instead of every year, and you gave developers 2 years to build these games? Charge people $15 for a roster update. They'll pay it.
Well, that's the argument.
And they'll be happy, too, because then they're not spending 60. You get the Madden Premium Edition. You're spending $110 for a game that's broken.
I'm just going to back up a little bit here. Maybe Lane. I don't know, Lane, if you're familiar with car racing games. So, okay. So I'm just going to give you a little history lesson because I'm sure so many other listeners and viewers are kind of wondering the same thing.
Story time.
Gran Turismo, as someone of my era, is the most legendary car racing game of all time. It came out in PS1 in the 90s. And it's the real driving simulator. And there were other car racing games, but it wasn't. They're more arcade mode versus Gran Turismo is very, very realistic. The thing that people do not like about Gran Turismo is it literally takes years. Sometimes we're talking 10 plus years in between games. So, for example, Gran Turismo has now been out longer than 25 years. And in that 25 years, they only have 7 editions. Well, there was Gran Turismo Sport in the middle because one took so much longer to make. They just made a fake kind of copycat one that's a money grab, but that was very disappointing. But anyway, that's not the point. So you have Gran Turismo that's made 7 games in, I think, about 27 or so years. Then you have Franza, who there's been other competitors in the past, like Project Gotham, I think was much better. But anyway, that's not the point. There's Forza, which is the current competition to Gran Turismo, because Gran Turismo is only on the PlayStation. Forza is on the Xbox and now just released to the PlayStation. And Forza has only been out for what? Maybe, well, since the Xbox One. So maybe about 15 years. And Forza has made more games in less time because they have Forza Motorsport, which compete against Gran Turismo, and Forza Horizon, which is like your arcade
Need for
style.
Speed.
So people always argue, well, Forza's better because there's more features, and Forza's better because they come up with more games. And then people argue Gran Turismo's better because they give so much time to do an update, a new game. Is when you finally get the new Gran Turismo, it's like literally playing a whole new game. So that's what Jacob's talking about.
But to make my point there, and then Lane's going to bring up some reviews. My point with that is then just I wish the NFL would just stop forcing EA to take an exclusive
license.
Thank you. Because then we could have EA that's more focused on online and puts out a game every year. Then we could have a studio like 2K Interactive, or maybe even like Modus Maximum Games with Maximum Football, give them a license to make a simulation that comes out maybe every 3 years of roster updates. That way fans could get both. I think the frustration is this is the only simulation game and it plays arcadey, and I'm just going to be blunt, the game is broken. But Lane, let's go to some of your reviews.
Yeah, I just looked it up on Google here, and this seems to be the common thread for people. This is for a lot of the people are saying, and I'll go through it here, a few of them here, but yeah, it looks like everyone's saying about 2.53. Definitely a lot of negative one stars. Some of them are just like, well, EA sucks. I'm like, well, that doesn't really help the game, but you can kind of see when I scroll through here, and I'm not going to go through each one, but like, some people say like, they've done some good things visually, but it's got bad AI. The game doesn't really play well. Some people saying, there's been some good updates here with the graphics. Franchise mode's not too bad, but some of the stats are unrealistic. People are saying that it's a copy and paste. It's not. It's a little bit better than that. So there are people that are bringing it up, and then there's this guy who's just saying, bring add upgrades in the following games. So he's not really complaining about the game. He's just saying that about expansion. So it doesn't really help me there. Some people are saying, it's definitely a little bit better than 25, but the animation's severely holding it back. Can be fun, but it has a proper physics engine. So, and then this guy just says EA is just the worst company ever. So that doesn't really help. And so, it's just all over the place, right? There's some people who say, all the haters are younger and haven't played a snap of all the old Madden games. This game is great. So there's that.
What? Okay. We need to talk about this comment a little bit here.
Because people liked it.
This review. Okay, but to say this is better than older Madden games, it's just absurd. I'm sorry.
Well,
I
think he's saying 18 to 20.
And it doesn't even throw a ball right. Like, I'm sorry, but you know what? Give me 2K Pro Football 08 any day of the week over a new Madden game, and it's going to play better.
Well, it sounds like he's basically saying from 18 to 25, it's better than.
Okay, sure. So let's take the worst era of Madden and say it's the best out of all the crap.
Well, I think all of this proves my point. I said it's probably somewhere in the middle, and you look at the people, they rated 2.5 out of 5, which is smack dab in the middle.
Let us know. I will be picking up Madden once it goes down in price because I'm not paying $80 for a broken game. So let me know if you'd like me to give you my thoughts on this game in an overall review. I'm someone who plays the older games, but I also play all the new ones. Personally, I absolutely love College Football 25. I haven't played 26 yet, but I think College 25 is a phenomenal game. I think it's one of the best games EA Sports has put out in years. So it's not like I think all EA games are crap. Actually, I think NHL 25 is a half decent game. Not nearly as good as NHL 14.
Oh, I don't think it is.
I think it's got some good points. I really like the 3-on-3s online mode. I think Be a Pro needs a massive update, which it looks like it is getting a lot of new updates in Be a Pro mode for NHL 26, which is exciting. But it's interesting, Dan, what you were saying as Lane scoring through these. It is basically saying what you were saying.
Yeah.
People either love this game or they hate this game. I guess it
It's
really just
white-
comes down to what generation you are.
It's right dab in the middle, right? Madden's a very controversial video game. People laugh when I say that, but it is. And then the argument is, it's like, okay, if you compare it back to
This
the
one's
old
really
Madden, like
negative.
you said, Jacob, in 2008, is it the actual game that's better, or was the league better? You look at guys like Terrell Owens and Donovan McMahon and great franchise players. Do we really have as many of those
Yes, we do.
controversial franchise players
Yes,
now?
we do.
I don't think so. I don't see someone picking up a cell phone in the middle of the game.
Oh, here we go. This looks like a good this looks like a review kind of the way I'm saying. And this is from Michael Long.
This is a
How
pretty
can
long one,
anyone
but
give this game a solid review is beyond me. If you played Madden over the past 10 years, you've played this game. You know they didn't change anything when their main selling point is weather. By the way, I do think the weather mechanic looks awesome. I do love the fact that you can play in snow. But the game is heavily animation based. If you throw the ball up and defender animates, your receiver won't even bother to try to make a play for the ball. I've seen this multiple times in other reviews. He'll stand there and allow the defender to make the play because for whatever reason, EA can't figure out how to get a defender and a receiver to appropriately fight for the ball in midair. So what this complaint is about is it's predetermined animations, right? So it doesn't matter what a skill base does. If the animation is saying interception, it's an interception. I've seen field goal kickers in these playthroughs not even kick the ball because it's been scripted to be a block, so the kick won't even happen. Versus Maximum Football, which needs a lot of work still, is physics-based with animations. This is animation-based with some physics. But yeah, when you're reading through this review, like blocking assignments is terrible. And I agree with what it's saying from what I've seen and what I've heard from other people, that it's basically Madden 25 with
this
more
is a pretty
animation.
good argument right here too. What he makes here too.
So,
Sorry,
where'd it go? Oh no,
I'll get it back.
Long.
I'll get it back. Where was my point? This part looks pretty good. I think.
Okay, so the game is seemingly built for casuals, which is fine, but it can get pretty ridiculous. Playing as the Ravens one game in the Mar made a throw off his back foot in triple coverage. 3 defenders stood there because the receiver animated first to make the catch. Then my defender attempt to make a tackle. This game allows you to get away with some very questionable decisions. It's very forgiving. Yeah, I do agree. Like, I think that is just the issue. And if, let's say this was an arcade-based game, which I actually think Madden has always been better at arcade. I think EA's always been better at arcade. 2K's been better at more realistic. So, like I said, you know what? When I am able to purchase the game myself, I will give a review. Maybe that's something we'll start doing on the podcast. We'll start doing game reviews.
Yeah.
A new thing for Streakers Island. That'll be a great thing for our YouTube and Facebook page.
Well, 100%, and our future website that is coming soon.
Yes, we are working on a Streakers Island website, so be excited for that. As I may be getting my little
features.
I may be using this very colorful keyboard for some articles again.
Holy cow!
But go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was just going to say, when you see the argument of Madden versus 2K being arcadey and real life physics, it's the same of Gran Turismo and Forza. If you play Forza, for example, if you drive a Porsche versus a Neon, obviously the Porsche is going to be faster. If you drive a Porsche versus a Neon in Gran Turismo, you're going to even feel it different in corners because the Porsche's rear-wheel drive mid-engine and the Neon's front-wheel drive front engine. So in Neon, you're going to get over power steering, and in the Porsche, you're going to slide out like crazy.
So Dan, basically the issue is with this then. So picture it if Need for Speed was the only team that was allowed to make racing games.
Right, I could totally
Gran Turismo was no longer allowed to make racing games with real cars.
Right.
That is what's happened with the exclusive licensing for NFL with Madden. The closest we have is either emulating NFL 2K5, which is still the best NFL game ever built. We're still comparing from a 2005 game in 2026. Or you deal with the growing pains from Maximum Football, continue to support them so it can get better. Big news coming out of Maximum Football for Canadian football fans. Coming out when the game is fully released, it will have Canadian rules as an option.
Oh,
Which that's the thing I don't know why. EA, why can't you make a deal with the CFLPA to do a CFL roster expansion?
Well,
especially
actually,
in our
going
offices
up.
in
I know
Vancouver.
we've been on this topic for a while, but I do have a gas ass related to it.
Oh.
Ooh, this will be the last gas or ass of the morning. Let's go, Mr. Dashko.
How do I word this so this doesn't word this better? But I'm gonna I hope you guys know what I'm picking up on. The new consoles, I don't think they can make good games on these new consoles. I don't think we have the proper technology to make the games that people want actually be made. Like I'm actually thinking about it, like the PS5. I've really been thinking about this lately. Every game that I've gotten has been could be a PS4 game. Like the people on newer consoles, they want better graphics, they want better this and this. But I don't think the computers or the developers that are making these games can actually make a game that can live up to the hype of
So
these new
Lane,
consoles.
this is 100% gas, and I'm going to explain why. Because they are building games on legacy code. So what they're doing is they're building the games on the PS4 code, improving it the best they can, and then porting it to the PS5 because all these games are still out for the PS4. Until we finally just go, look, we're not putting any more new games on the PS4. You have to buy a new console. We're going to run into this problem.
You can't
Number
buy
two,
PS4 games new.
Dan, Madden 25 was available on the PS4.
Madden 26 isn't, but still, but
26 isn't, but it's still running on legacy code.
Hmm.
But Dan, Madden 25 did come out on the PS4.
So what happens when PS6 comes out? You think this is a giant marketing point?
And when unfortunately it's going to happen, we're going to run into the exact same problems. They're going to keep making all the games for the PS5 because they
So
don't
what's-
want to lose the they
I
don't
think
want to
it's
lose all the online revenue. Because right now, if you Walmart, I can buy Madden 25 for the PS4 for $39. They need to stop making these newer games for the older generation.
I think it's the technology. I just don't think we have the tech. I don't think we have the technical.
We do have the technology. We just don't. We just shouldn't be making it
Like, do we have
for these
better
ones. But look,
code?
as much as I think Madden 26 isn't good enough, look at all the advancements they made with graphics and weather technology and everything because it's just on the PS5.
Right, but the gameplay sucks.
Well, because it's still built on a bad physics engine. Like it needs to be. That's a whole other conversation.
Like, look. Here's a good example. Grand Theft Auto literally skipped an entire console. Like an entire console. The last time they put out a game was on the PS3, and they still haven't put one out. And but like this is what I'm saying. Like you should instead of trying to
The Gran
force these,
Turismo effect.
yeah,
Yeah.
instead of just forcing these new games every year, what they can't really prove, maybe put a game out every 5, 6 years. Like just charge people $30 for the roster update.
That's what I'm saying. I would say every 2 years a new sports game comes out. Give them two. Though you look at College Football 25, which I know I keep harping on this, but College
It
Football
was
25
good
is the best sports game I've played in probably 10 years. Or
because
close to it. It is that good. They had 2.5 years to build it. College Football 26, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews. I've seen that it's not, in a lot of ways, it took a step back from 25 because they only had 11 months to build it. So why not just do roster updates and charge $15, $20? Even
Why not
$30
just hire more staff to get it built quicker?
Because Dan, there's still only even so much staff. You can still only do things so quickly.
Why?
Okay, build me an engine in 10 minutes. And I'm going to give you 30. I'm going to give you 30 engineers.
Yeah, no problem. So in car factories, for example, you need more cars built. You have free shifts running throughout the day, right? You have a morning, afternoon, and night shift. So 24/7 for constantly cars being built. Why can't you just do that video game?
Okay, but Dan, if I have an assembly line and it's full and I give you more employees, will that fix anything?
No, and you could make the assembly line bigger. Easy.
You can't. You can't. There's only so many developers you can put on a game because it's developing software. And everyone's got to work together. It's only such a big.
That's stupid.
It's not stupid. It's realistic.
100% stupid.
You're stupid. 21.
No, that's stupid. Okay, I can't build my assembly line bigger. Just build a bigger factory.
It's not that simple.
I'll just build a second factory. Okay, I'll just build cars in every country. I don't get it.
Because at the end of the day, not all these cars have to work with each other's car.
Well, nowadays they do because it's self-driving.
They don't work with other cars. It's just terrible AI that
a lot of times they do.
That's
Like
terrifying.
Teslas will talk to each other.
That's terrifying.
I agree, but I'm just saying,
You're making me want to
if the
walk.
car industry can figure it out, why can't the video game industry figure it out?
But I think we need to figure out that it's time to wrap up the show.
Oh, because you know I'm right.
No, you're not right. I just don't feel like having this argument with you, especially when you have to be up in like 5 hours. But, Mr. Morefor, what is your island mindset?
Oh, you sneaky. Okay. Well, I just want to give a huge shout out again to the amazing people of the CFL Fights Cancer. We did the charity walk. They finished it today. We did talk about our live episodes today, but just in case you missed it, Pinball Clemens actually met the team early today, even before they got to the Hamilton Stadium. He met them on Barton Street, which is incredible. And when they got to Hamilton Stadium, they were welcomed by Cat cheerleader team. So it's amazing to see both. We watch the game, like they hate each other, but it's nice to see the fans working together for an amazing cause. And I think that's one reason why this is such a great thing if they do, because these two, not just the teams, but the fan bases we've talked about before, are known for not liking each other. So seeing two fan bases come together to work together is amazing. And they did raise a lot of money this weekend. But just to let people know, the walk itself is over. But CFL Fight Cancer is still going on. It goes on for the whole season. This is just an event within that season. So wherever, as you go to our website, Jacob has been promoting throughout the past couple of weeks, there are other events going on. Like the legendary fan Jinder Argo, he says if he gets enough money raised, he might show up to the Grey Cup in a Ticats jersey, in Winnipeg. Connor, who is one of the walkers who I walked with, he has an amazing beard and hair. He gets enough donations, he's shaving it all off at the Grey Cup to raise money for charity. So my point is, the actual fundraising is going until Grey Cup weekend, because the money is going to a cancer facility in Manitoba. So even if you can't donate, just share it. And if you can't donate now, you haven't missed the opportunity. You have up till the Grey Cup to make a donation. So I just want to give huge shout out to the guys. And also they did, even though I didn't complete the walk, unfortunately, because of my cerebral palsy, they did give a shout out to me to CHCH News. So just want to say thank you for that. And hopefully we have them come on the island again and have a recap of how the walk went this year and what are the plans for next year.
Absolutely, and they have raised over $25,000 as a whole so far towards their goal towards 100,000.
Oh,
so
well,
let's help them
25.
get there. It's over 25. That's what I said.
Well, I think like 28 now.
Well, at 28 is higher than 25.
It is.
Dan can only count to 4. I'm sorry, folks, but
you only count to 4.
That's all the time we have for today. As Lane looks like he just watched the Ticats lose again. He's having a existential crisis.
Oh,
Thank you very much for watching the Streakers Island podcast, joined by myself, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, Lane Dashco, and Mr. Moore for your money.
Woo!
We will be back for our regular schedule, back up Thursday morning with our next episode. Plus, we will be doing some sort of preview show for the first game of the year in the NFL. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you download the Streakers app. Jump in to the Streakers Island Podcast Sports Booth to play along with these props in the Jays versus Reds in tonight's game, and so many more. We will be back very, very soon. I miss you. Goodbye.
Bye.